This is the Digital DJ Tips look at the new Denon DJ SC Live 4 standalone all-in-one DJ unit. This is coming in cheaper than the Prime 4, which is the one it is most similar to in Denon DJ's range, but it has a lot of the features that you find on the Prime 4. And that means that it's going to appeal to a different audience, to home users, to semi-pro DJs who want something with those kind of features but maybe don't want to spend as much money. And therefore, it's something a little bit different for Denon DJ. In this review, I'm going to talk you through the features of it. I'm going to tell you what it's like to use. We're going to compare it to some of the other units on the market that are similar. By the end of this, you'll have a very good idea as to whether this is good for you, or indeed the smaller version of this that's also come out at the same time. We've got two other pieces of content for you. We've got a full written review of this unit, which is linked to underneath, where you get a lot more detail. And also, we have a 5 things you need to know about this, which was a live stream we did that also has a live Q&A from our community, so you'll find out a lot more about this and hear answers to the questions that people are asking about this unit by watching that as well. And as ever, if you enjoy this, we don't want you to subscribe to YouTube or any of that stuff. Head over to Digital DJ Tips and become our latest member. It's free and you get our weekly Tuesday Tips Live show and email that'll help you become a better DJ. Can't say fairer than that from the world's leading DJ school. Right, let's get into the unit. So, it's got speakers built in. So as well as that club layout, as well as that kind of cheaper, smaller, but still professional kind of general feel to it, it's got speakers built in. And I can tell you that they're really good. The only other controller that's got speakers built into it is the Numark Mixstream Pro from the same family of companies. But they sound better than the ones in the Numark Mixstream Pro. They've got a really decent amount of bass in them for the size of the speakers, certainly big enough for a party at home, a small party at home, and certainly big enough for practicing, or interestingly using as monitor speakers when you are out DJing, if you're playing in venues that don't have monitor speakers. So thumbs up for us for the speakers. It's got a tilted screen that gives you the control of the software that's built into the unit that lets you DJ with the thing. We found the screen too small. 7 inches is not big enough for us. It's certainly usable, but you really do have to squint on some of the smaller layouts to read what's going on that screen. That said, your mileage with this might vary. Just bear in mind it's not as big, for instance, as the screen on the Pioneer DJ XDJ RX3, which is a similar type of unit. So if you want that bigger screen, you're not going to find it on either this or the SC Live 2. So this controls all kinds of stuff. It's Engine DJ. Now, we've reviewed a lot of Engine DJ units. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of Engine DJ. You'll find lots of that stuff over on the Digital DJ Tips website if you're interested. But to sum up, it's the most powerful standalone DJ software out there that works inside units. It's got control of lighting. It's got streaming services built in with Wi-Fi. And this unit, for the first time, has got Amazon streaming built in as well. It's the first DJ unit anywhere with Amazon built in. But also you can access your music via Dropbox, so you don't even need to put your music on an SD card or on a USB drive and export it to plug into the back of the unit. We'll have a look around the back in a minute. You could just stick it in Dropbox. So Engine is very, very powerful. And this runs the full strength engine, as do all units from Denon DJ and indeed the Numark Mixstream Pro. So it's really powerful. That's what you need to know about that. Other little things that we spotted on the unit, it's got a new color scheme. If I just hit play here, keep an eye on the meters. It's got this orange and white and blue, which is nicer, I think, than the abundance of green on previous Denon units. It's got limited external inputs and outputs compared to like the Prime 4, for instance. So if we look around the back of the unit, you can see here we've got a couple of microphone ins. We've also got an auxiliary switch, so we can plug an auxiliary in here, but you can't then put those through the effects. You can't put the microphone through the effects and stuff. So it's not really a standalone mixer at all. It's just a simple little auxiliary input and a couple of mics. You do get reasonable outputs going on here, but no zone output like you get on the Denon DJ Prime 4. So we've got our XLR outputs balanced. We've also got a RCA pair there, which are both outputting the main output. And then here we have our TRS outputs for booth monitoring as well. So here and here we can plug in our SD card to this slot here, or we can plug in two of our USBs here as well, and we can record as well onto one of those if we want. And there's the input for your computer, input-output for the computer. The power is from a power brick. Sadly, I prefer to see IEC with the transformer built in. I guess that's part of the cost reduction going on here. And there's your power on-off switch. So while it's got more limited than really pro gear inputs and outputs, they're certainly fine. They're certainly going to do the job for you if you're basically going to use this for the way it's intended, which is to mix with music off USB or music from the streaming services. So you can't plug in record decks or use it as a DVS system or plug in extra control decks like you can on the more expensive Denon DJ gear there. The only controls missing from the pretty extensive controls on the top really are hardware controls for beat gridding, because everything else is here and present. So we've got a very nice cue and play pause. We've got beat jump, track skip. You've got 2 decks on each side, so you can control 2 decks from each side. Sensor in reverse, manual and auto looping here. You've got vinyl or CDJ style. Again, this is pretty typical stuff. You've got sync, you've got key sync. You can alter the key as well, up or down on the tracks using the screen, which is nice. Really nice long pitch throw here as well. You've got slip mode there as well, and you have got some very limited grid edit there built in, so it's not like you don't have any grid editing, it's just that you haven't got the external controls to do the stuff you can do on the Prime 4. The decks are identical, so we've covered that there. At the top then, by the screen, you've got your usual ability to move through your collection here and then load the tracks left or right, and then here we've got our menus to dive into the menus for Engine, which I'll talk you through in a little bit more detail in a minute, and also your view layout. This is quite interesting because we can here, this is an example of how small the typeface is for some of the views in here, but here we can flick from our waveforms onto here, but also we get extra views that we can use, so that by pressing my shift button and then pressing that view button, I can switch the views like this. So now we've got all 4 decks. I've only got stuff loaded on 2. There's vertical, all 4 decks in another view with this kind of like parallel waveforms. And this is vertical with 2 decks, but with your library in the middle. So lots of ways of laying out the decks here to suit you. It's, as I say, it's very good. Engine is very, very good software. The problem is for me, the screen's just a little bit too small. And in Engine, just very quickly then to show you some of the other bits and pieces we've got in here, you get a control center for the main things you're going to use. You can select your source and log on to Wi-Fi. You can record, you can control lighting from here using Philips Hue or Nanoleaf or DMX lighting via sound switch. So this is all standard Engine stuff. This is all, there's nothing here unusual to this unit or unique to this unit, but just to give you a quick look through if you haven't seen any of this stuff before. And lots of controls, again, with that tiny typeface. Playback, cues and loops, displays, safety controls, locking the decks and so on. Set the library how you want it, even change the colors of various bits on the decks, although I don't think that actually does anything on this particular unit. And a whole load of settings as well that you can change for the mixer and the device. You can set the microphones and the talk over and so on. Here's your turning on or off of beat source, Ableton, Beatport, SoundCloud, Tidal and Dropbox. There's no Amazon on here. This is a pre-release firmware, but it is in there. Trust me on that. So a lot of stuff going on the screen, a lot of power in the software, as I said. Okay, let's talk about what this is like to use. And actually, this was a lot of fun to DJ on. We had a lot of fun playing around with this unit. It is highly featured, so it's just got everything you need. It feels like playing on any of the top-end Denon DJ gear once you get stuck into using it. Your pads are very nice, they're full color, you've got cue, loop, roll and slice, so you don't get any samplers on these standalone units, but you've got basically all the stuff you expect on software bar that going on here. As I mentioned, the speakers do sound excellent, but we also played the whole thing through our Adam Audio in-house monitors here as well, and I can guarantee you that there's no problem with the sound quality. They haven't skimped on the audio here. It sounds really cool, so I wouldn't worry about ever plugging this into a big sound system and thinking, is it going to hack it? It's going to hack it absolutely fine. Streaming was fun. We really enjoyed plugging in our streaming services. We used Tidal and Beatport to test. You get a different kind of experience with streaming, so you can't pre-analyze the tracks on software like you can when you're using it with your own music. This is what the software looks like on your desktop. So if you've got your software on your desktop, then you can prepare your playlists and you can pre-analyze, and if you've got difficult to beat grid songs, you can prepare it all on there, stick it in your Dropbox, export it to an SD card, and it's all there. With streaming services, it's not quite as easy as all of that. But that said, you know, streaming is really coming of age. We have just made a full DJ course. It's called Mixing for Mobile and Wedding DJs, some of whom might be interested in this unit. And when we made Mixing for Mobile and Wedding DJs, we only used streaming services, which is really, really cool that we managed to do that. We didn't use any local music. So something that we were amazed at, that we could just record a whole course with just streaming services. By the way, if you're interested in the course, there's a link underneath there. The touch screen is very easy to use. It's very responsive. You can do all kinds of stuff like you're used to doing on your phone. It's much better than the Pioneer touch screens, for instance, and it's very responsive as well. And the jog wheels they feel bigger than on the Prime 4, and they have this nice display in the middle as well, which is a first on Denon DJ gear, or on any engine DJ gear that's got the BPM and the time elapsed and so on. So rather than artwork, which isn't a choice, you get this kind of, they're not full color, they seem to be two color, but we really think that's an improvement. It's better to have that information there than just a pretty picture. And the jogs, they're below, at the bottom of the jog, it's the same size as the Prime 4, but they don't seem to go in as much, so they feel bigger, and they are nicely weighted and heavy, and no problem at all with those. So overall, to use the thing, really good. I want to talk to you a little bit about this in comparison to the SC Live 2, which is the smaller version of this. The SC Live 2 is really stripped down compared to the SC Live 4. You don't get the in-jog displays, you only get 4 pads, you don't get the booth out, you don't get the auxiliary in, you don't get the second mic. So I think you really are getting a much lesser experience. And of course you only get 2 channels, that's the whole point of the SC Live 2, but it's not just like 2 channels and everything else. You are missing an awful lot. So do bear that in mind when you're looking at the price differences and so on, that you're not getting like for like, other than the channels being different. You're going to be considering what to buy against this, whether it's better value than the Prime 4, whether the XDJ RX3, whether maybe even the Numark Mixstream are better. So let's look at those one by one. Compared to the Prime 4, which is the high-end Denon DJ 4-channel standalone unit, you're missing a lot of the ability, the flexibility and the ability to plug extra things in is the main thing. So apart from the fact the Prime 4's got a lovely big screen, you're also missing the fact that you can't plug in 2 control decks, LC6000 control decks on this, which you can on the Prime 4. You're also missing the ability to use it with turntables and CDJs. In other words, there's a kind of standalone unit. So none of that is on this. This is really just mainly for controlling what the internal software does. And the Prime 4's build quality is better than this. Prime 4 is going to be better for you if you're playing out a lot. If you're playing out occasionally and you want a great unit for home and to live stream on and so on, which has got most of the main functions of the engine software, this is going to be better. It's cheaper, but not that much cheaper. We're talking $300–400, assuming you can get either unit, because of course in today's day and age it's all over the place as to whether you can get these units at all. So that's the Prime 4. You can find a full review of the Prime 4 on Digital DJ Tips, with a review as well from me if you want to look more deeply into that model. Then there's the Pioneer DJ XDJ RX3. Bigger screen, I'd say slightly better build quality, and industry standard insofar as, hey, it's Pioneer DJ, but far less power. No Wi-Fi, no streaming, 2 channels. It just hasn't got anywhere near, and no speakers or any of those kind of novel features, no lighting control. It's got nowhere near what you get on this for the money, and it costs more. So really, unless you want that Pioneer ecosystem and to use Rekordbox, I think Pioneer also works with Serato like this one does, but otherwise you're getting a lot more for your money on this unit here. And also the Numark Mixstream Pro. This is a very high quality for the money and very popular unit. So the Mixstream Pro doesn't do anywhere near as much. It really doesn't. Same screen, similar jog wheels, but very, very limited in what you can do with it. It's got very limited effects, for instance. Same 4 pads. The speakers are there, but they're at the bottom, which I find pretty weird. But that said, if you just want this ecosystem and you want a really good value entry into it, it isn't this. This is expensive, honestly. This isn't expensive. This is the value you get in this is awesome. So if you want to spend 3 rather than 4 figures, I think this is definitely the one to consider, because it's got everything you need for getting started without any of the stuff that maybe you don't need as someone who's just starting DJing for the first time but doesn't want to use external software. But you don't get Serato on there as well, which is something that I just think is nice. It's nice to have the option to use Serato, for instance, and Virtual DJ if you want to. Actually, I think the Mixstream Pro works with Virtual DJ now as well. So, to sum up, this is pretty unique. It's got a lot of features. It's got very powerful software. It's got speakers. It's the ultimate home DJ unit. It's semi-pro. Yes, the Prime 4 is better. Yes, the XDJ RX3 from Pioneer DJ is more standard, if you like, if you want to move on to use club gear. And yes, the Numark Mixstream Pro is still remarkable in the fact that you get all this stuff at a lower price. But I think this is quite a smart move from Denon DJ, because in this day and age, you really don't want to spend more on anything, right? And this has got pretty much the things that I reckon they've decided are the most important from their bigger units in something that is cheaper, that's lighter, and that's got its own thing going on as well with the speakers, especially, which is they're just damn useful. We didn't actually use our external speakers other than to test that this thing sounded all right at all, because we just found the internal ones are really good. A lot of the time, you just want to walk up to your gear and play. And if you just want to walk up to your DJ gear and play, and then do a lot with it once you are playing, these units, the SC Live 4 and the quite drastically stripped down SC Live 2 are definitely worth looking at. So, remember, we've got the full written review where I go into a lot more detail. We've also got our 5 things you need to know before buying one of these units. Live stream recording, links underneath for that as well, also with a community Q&A. You get to ask any questions, just do so underneath the video and my team and I will get back to you. And if you've enjoyed this video and if you want to learn to DJ with the world's leading DJ school, the only DJ school with names like Jazzy Jeff, Laidback Luke, James Hype, DJ Angelo, and of course your tutors here at the school, then come to the digitaldjtips.com website and sign up, become our latest free member. It's digitaldjtips.com/join. And until our next video, get good, get out there, and make the moments.